So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Two anti-government, self-described revolutionaries have shot up a pizza restaurant as well as a Walmart in Las Vegas.
The internationally syndicated political series, The David Pakman Show, provides progressive talk, analysis, and interviews with the nation's youngest radio and television host, David Pakman. Find out more and catch up on all the latest episodes by visiting our website at freespeech.org.
All right, are you ready for a Friday show? Indeed. Here we are, rolling into the end of the week on the Bill Press Show this Friday, April 10, 2015. Great to see you today. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching on Free Speech TV nationwide, anywhere in this great land of ours, or worldwide if you're tuning in on your electronic device on our video stream at Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker, TAWKR-TV. It is good to have you with us with lots to talk about. President Obama, after a brief stopover in Jamaica to visit the Bob Marley Museum, he is now in Panama for the Summit of the Americas. The big news is there the White House confirms that somehow, unofficially, probably not a formal meeting of the two, President Obama will interact with Cuban President Raul Castro and engage in conversation about some important issues, including easing the travel ban to Cuba, easing it even more than the president has already done so, opening embassies, our embassy in Havana and Cuba's embassy here in Washington, and perhaps even lifting Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. The president confirmed yesterday that the State Department has completed its study of that issue. Down in North Charleston, South Carolina, a new video has emerged in the incident which led to the murder of Walter Scott. This is the dash cam video, which shows everything starting as a routine traffic stop down in North Charleston. And, of course, that eventually led to a very tragic outcome, the killing of Walter Scott, and murder charges filed against Officer Michael Slager. And the presidential field could get a lot more crowded this weekend with Marco Rubio. Lincoln Chafee from Rhode Island has already jumped in. Marco Rubio jumps in on Monday, and maybe, that's a big rumor, Hillary Clinton on Sunday. Wow. Get ready to call at 866-55-PRESS. And thanks for joining us here on this Friday Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
my beauty,
my power,
my life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, she could do it as early as Sunday. Check your Twitter account. Hillary could be in. What do you say, folks? It is Friday. I don't think I've ever been so happy to see a Friday get here. Friday, April 10. And it's a long-awaited Friday, our favorite day of the week, and we know it is yours too. Indeed, welcome to the special Friday edition of the Bill Press Show. We got lots to talk about leading up to a big party celebration at the end of the show today. So lots to look forward to and lots to talk about on our way there as we, hopscotch across the news of the day here in Washington, D.C., around the country and around the globe. This is the final day of the congressional 2-week Easter break. They'll be back in town, someday next week. They'll probably come back in Wednesday and leave Thursday. After all, they need a vacation from their vacation, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
But to the extent there's any news here in Washington, D.C., we'll tell you about it, what's going on around the country and around the globe. And, yes, rumors are heavy this morning that Hillary Clinton will announce that she is running for president in 2016, that she will do so on Sunday on Twitter. Maybe we'll have the official announcement before the end of the show. It seems to me that sometime today she's going to have to let people know if she's really going to do that and not just spring it as a great big surprise when people roll out of bed on Sunday morning. We'll keep you up to date on that. Good to see you today. We're here with the entire team, Peter Ogburn and Lisa Murphy.
Hello, Bill.
Hey, happy Friday.
Hey, Alicia Cruz. She's there to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. And we're double teaming this morning on the video cam just because we have so much to show you and talk about with both Cyprian Bolding and Monty Canceller here, videographers extraordinaire, keeping us looking good on Free Speech and on Talker TV. Last night, I had a chance to not only attend the premiere of a new documentary about the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but to MC the discussion on the documentary afterward by the filmmaker Patrick Gavin, used to be a reporter at Politico, and he spent the last year doing this documentary on the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which he calls, not so affectionately, Nerd Prom. But that's what people in Washington call it, too. It is a week of events surrounding the White House Correspondents' Dinner. If you want to check out the the movie, you can go to the website, Nerd Prom the Movie, nerdpromthemovie.com, and you'll see video cameo appearances by many, many people you know from the White House press corps and from the Washington media scene. I am a member of SAG and a member of AFTRA, and I think it's everybody's secret desire to be a movie star.
Sure.
But having watched this documentary, which is very critical of the dinner and all the events and parties surrounding the dinner, I was never so happy in my life that I was not in the movie.
You're not in there.
No cameo?
There was no cameo, and there was no, like, I thought that it could easily pop up at one of the many parties or something, right? Or I might have been. Not necessarily.
Would have been doing.
Exactly.
No record.
Right, yes.
Knows.
So I escaped. Yeah.
Good
escaped.
job.
So that was a good time last night. Not nearly as good a time as President Obama had down in Jamaica, man. Yeah, man, it was Jamaica, man. And what would you do when you go to Jamaica, right? The first thing you would do is just do what he did. He did a beeline.
Smoke weed?
Oh, yeah, that's the first thing I would
gang?
do. He didn't do that, but he made a beeline from Air Force One to the Bob Marley Museum.
Yeah, man.
Here he is. Yes, this is a highlight. The highlight of his years in the White House.
The quick trip that I made last night to Bob Marley's house was one of the more fun meetings that I've had since I've been president. As a big fan since I was in high school, and is indicative of the incredible spirit of the Jamaican people.
Yeah, how about that?
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Emphasis on high school.
Yeah. Right. All right. On a Friday, we'll check in with Susan Paige from USA Today, as we always do. Also, we'll be talking to the Center for Politics down at the University of Virginia, Kyle Kondik, Glenn Thrush from Politico. And yes, I kind of feel like a Bloody Mary this morning. Huh? Maybe we'll get around to that before the end of the day. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Yes.
Just a couple of other stories making news.
This is not
There
the
you
Bloody
go.
Mary.
Not
No,
a
it's
Bloody
the
Mary. You just
martini.
get another
This is-
cocktail.
that's right.
My goodness,
On the way.
You're going to be a mess by the end of the show. You know, the Kentucky Wildcats had a hell of a season in the in NCAA basketball, Bill. Even though they did not win the championship, they did go 38-0 before they lost to Wisconsin in the Final Four.
Super beats.
All because of the Super Beats, of course. Well, yesterday, the top 7 scorers for the Kentucky Wildcats all declared that they are going into the NBA.
Wow.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of expected.
Yeah.
But Kentucky...
They're not going to finish their... You mean they...
No. They're going right to the NBA.
Finish their college
Not
degree.
finish college. Well, they may go on and get a college degree later, but they're leaving Kentucky to go to the NBA right now. So Kentucky is losing their top 7 scorers. Not really a huge deal for them because Kentucky is such a big school and such a program that they're going to have more people right behind them. So no one's necessarily freaking out. This happens to Kentucky every year.
With the top 7?
Top 7. Yeah, it was a good class.
Lord.
And they are taking off. You've heard of destination weddings, Bill. Have you heard of a destination divorce? Destination divorces are on the rise.
I thought that was Vegas,
right.
or even Elkton, Maryland. There are places that where you go to you can get a quickie divorce.
Yeah, well, here's a trend among couples now, that according to Quartz magazine, that couples, when they realize that it's over and they realize that they're ready to move on and separate, they go and take one last trip together.
Really?
On a vacation. They chronicle this one couple in particular who lives in Hoboken, New Jersey, and they knew that they wanted to get a divorce, so they just said, screw it, let's go to the Dominican Republic. We'll have one last blast as a couple, and then we just say farewell. And they leave as friends, they have a nice vacation out of it, and then they're done.
So not really trying to work it out or anything. Just celebrating the fact we're
Just
divorcing.
celebrating the fact that it's over, and they could go their separate ways after that.
Now, Carol and I celebrated our anniversary this week, and she's taking me away this weekend. Is that what it's all about?
Just keep your guard up.
No.
All right?
God, I don't know which way this weekend's
She hands
going.
you an envelope or something like that.
yeah.
You don't have to take it.
Don't check your Facebook account. She might use that.
That's right. And the great Chipotle carnitas crisis continues.
Uh-oh.
You know, back in January, they said that they had a problem with the carnitas. They can't get enough carnitas that fill their sort of ethically raised pork standards. Well, they put out a statement yesterday, said it's not coming to an end anytime soon. They said that they're still having problems. They said fewer than 5% of pigs raised in the U.S. meet Chipotle standards these days. So we're not going to see an end to it. They're taking carnitas off of the menu indefinitely at Chipotles around the country.
No,
there's still a couple of pockets that can still get them because they're close to Nyman Ranch, one of the ranches that they get their pork from.
Right.
But for the most part, across the country, no more carnitas.
But that's what I get on my burrito bowl.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
No, I'd like
Gonna
the
be a
carnitas in
shortage.
the burrito bowl.
Can I tell you should try the chicken. Chicken's really good.
The chicken's really good.
You like the chicken? Chicken's good.
The chicken's good, but the carnitas.
I don't disagree with you. I go carnitas, but chicken's pretty good.
Oh, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Bloody Mary now. All right. Here we go. Hey, 15 minutes after the hour, I got to tell you, it's getting crowded. Yeah. The 2016 field is suddenly going to get pretty crowded here, maybe this weekend. First of all, we had, of course, Ted Cruz, right, way back in March, and when I was on vacation. And then last week, we had Rand Paul jump in. Well, yesterday, out of the blue, we have Lincoln Chafee. Remember him. He used to be a Republican when he was in the United States Senate. He's a good guy. He is the kind of Republican his father was, John Chafee. Was a great senator from Rhode Island, a very progressive, moderate Republican. I knew him well, and I know Link Chafee well. He's actually like a second cousin of Carol's from Rhode Island. She grew up in Providence. And anyhow, so Lincoln Chafee, he was a Republican senator. Then he ran for governor of Rhode Island as an independent, served as an independent, and then turned in toward the end of his term as governor as a Democrat, and ran, I think, for another Senate seat as a Democrat. Anyway, he's now a Democrat. So he opened and this came out of the blue. Nobody was talking to him as a possible candidate on the Democratic side or the Republican side. He formed an exploratory committee to run for president yesterday for 2016 as a Democrat. The first Democrat to do so. There has been formed overnight, too, a new draft Joe Biden committee to try to get the vice president to take running for president seriously. And remember, he has not slammed the door totally shut to that. He just says, my timetable is my timetable. I'm going to think about it, and I'll make up my mind. This summer is the timetable that he's given himself. So then you've got that, you got Lincoln Chafee, you got Joe Biden, and now there's a rumor this morning that is all over the airwaves, according to a source very close to her. We knew that it was going to happen sometime this month. Now the word is that as soon as this Sunday morning, Hillary Clinton is going to hop on a plane to Iowa, and while she's on the plane, or before she gets on the plane, on her Twitter account, she's going to announce that she's running for president. As I recall, the last time she ran, she did it on video on YouTube or something like that.
There was a video, yeah.
A video,
I do remember the
right?
video. Yeah,
it's kind of a new thing. Rather than having a big announcement with a lot of supporters, you do a kind of a video thing. And I'm sure she's got 8 trillion people follow her, right, on video?
Yeah.
Or on Twitter.
I'm looking to actually see how many Twitter followers she's got right now. It's like 15 million.
Yeah, right. So anyhow, that could come as early as Sunday, which is really stunning when you think about it because, okay, that's Sunday, April 12th. This is Friday, April 10th. And there's been no announcement. There's been no, obviously, no ballroom reserved because she doesn't need it. She's going to do it on video. But the media has not been informed. If she's going to Iowa, imagine the army of media that will descend on Iowa, right?
Oh boy,
She's going to be there. And this is Friday, and no word yet, and they're going to have to get there and get hotel rooms. And I mean, it's going to be maddening, right? Mad, just absolutely insane if that's what transpires. And then on top of that, get this, right? You've heard me say so often, Bernie Sanders ought to run. Elizabeth Warren ought to run. We need a healthy contested primary. We talked about this yesterday morning. Well, then Elizabeth Warren pops up on CBS Morning News yesterday with Charlie Rose and Norah O'Donnell, and she starts talking like a candidate. Here she says, well, about Hillary, she didn't endorse Hillary. She just says, I want to know, what's Hillary stand for?
Well, I think we have to see, first of all, if she declares and what she says she wants to run on.
And Elizabeth Warren says, the Democratic Party is not just like standing still. It's always changing, basically. Her message is, you got to keep up with things and keep moving.
I don't think the Democratic Party is a static thing. The Democratic Party grows. The Democratic Party is full of energy right now. The Democratic Party is very much about drawing contrast, frankly, with the Republican Party.
And so she says what we need. Oh, my God, this drives me crazy. Maybe she was listening to our show yesterday morning. I don't know, on the way to the studio in CBS. But she says, what we need is what I've been saying that we need, and what a group of Democratic leaders, starting with Larry Cohen, president of the CWA, said last week that we need. We need a healthy, contested primary.
Look, I think there needs to be a vigorous debate in the whole question about running for president. I think everyone who's running for president should be talking about what they plan to do to strengthen and rebuild America's middle class. Let's be clear, this has been my lifetime's work, and I have watched year by year by year where America's middle class just has to take one punch after another. We've reached a point, this isn't going to work anymore.
All right. Wait a minute. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, join me here at 866-55-PRESIDENT. Let's talk about this. Here she is on CBS News, right? National television, talking about the need for a vigorous debate in the Democratic primary in 2016. She knows that she's the candidate everybody's been talking about. She's the progressive that people want to see run. She says that fighting for the middle class has been her lifetime work, and that has to be the number one issue in the 2016 campaign. And she's right about the need for a debate, right about the need for a primary. She's right about the middle class and what we're going to do for the middle class to be the number one issue in the 2016 election. So why doesn't she just, damn it, do it? Why doesn't she just run? She says all the right things, and yet she's chicken to run. Come on, Elizabeth. And really, I love her. I want her to run. I think she'd be great. I think she'd be a fantastic president of the United States, But I'm getting a little sick and tired of Elizabeth Warren with the tease, right? I don't want the tease. I want the real thing here, baby, okay? So, you know what? Fish or cut bait, Elizabeth. It's about time. Run, Elizabeth, run, or just shut the hell up. 866-55-PRESS. Let's talk about it.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job, and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand, and they don't get it, and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all of the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university?
Yeah, people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies.
In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So here's what I don't get at 27 minutes after the hour. She's got everything it takes. She's got a free ride. She's got great support around the country. She's right on the issues. She's right at the perfect age, I think. And if she waits 8 years, it'll be too late. Why doesn't Elizabeth Warren run? Is she afraid of Hillary? Does she think it's like rude, maybe, to challenge Hillary because she was former First Lady and Secretary of State? Does she think, you know what I mean? Does she think Hillary owns it? Why? What's up on this, Peter?
We're on Twitter at BP Show, at BP Show. Holly weighs in and says whether or not she runs, Bill, we do still need Elizabeth Warren's voice out there.
Well, yeah, her voice will be there in the Senate. I mean, she could do a lot more as President of the United States, that's all. Douglasville, Georgia. Hi, Ricky. What do you say?
How you doing, Bill?
Good.
I think she's too far to the left because people like her want to control everything as far as the corporations and all that. And every time their policies always, with the non-intended consequences, always hurt those that they're trying to help. I was telling her, I'll give you an example. With the finance bill, I just bought a house. They treat you like a criminal, and the way the rules have been designed to make sure that the things that happened before don't happen.
Okay, Ricky, but let me tell you something. You want some help in the middle class. You're not going to get it from George Bush or Jeb
the
Bush.
Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E.
racing done. I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Here we go now at 35 minutes after the hour. Just a final point, if you will, to dot the I and cross the T's on the Elizabeth Warren. The way I see it, she would be, she and Bernie Sanders would be the two candidates that I would most agree with, and I think the two candidates that we could depend on to raise the important progressive issues, to challenge Hillary on those issues, and to get Hillary to talk about those issues. And who knows, look what happened with Barack Obama. One of them might actually win. And I think that is a ticket to the Democratic Party's success in 2016, to point out that, yes, for many people, the economy is doing very well, particularly for people at the very, very top. But that has not spread across the breadth of American working families, for most of whom wages have been stagnant, if not actually declined, over the last 8 years. So we've got this catch-up to do with the middle class, and we've got to focus on jobs, and we've got to focus on minimum wage, and focus on health care and the things that will help the middle class of America rebound. And again, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are the two that articulate that better than anybody. And what I don't think Elizabeth Warren understands, that somebody's got to tell her, this is what I call her Barack Obama moment. When you think about it, everything that people are saying today about Hillary Clinton, and I'm not knocking Hillary Clinton, but this is a rerun. This is not something new. Everything they're saying about Hillary today, we heard in 2007. You can't run against her. She's too strong. She has too much experience. She's too great a candidate. And the Clinton political machine can never be beat. So that's what they said. Come on, Barack. You just got elected to the Senate. Don't commit suicide here. Don't do something really foolish. Don't think you could beat the Clinton machine. Well, guess what? Barack Obama ignored that. He jumped in, and I supported Hillary over Barack Obama. So I've been there for Hillary, right? Because I didn't think he was ready. But he proved himself wrong. He proved himself a better candidate than Hillary Clinton was. And she proved herself, and the Clinton political machine proved to be one of the biggest myths in American politics.
Yeah.
Fell apart, okay? So now here's Elizabeth Warren. Same candidate, same message. Stay away from her. She's invincible. No, she's not. No, she is not. And I think Elizabeth Warren just doesn't have the backbone, doesn't have the guts, doesn't have the courage that Barack Obama had in 2007. I don't understand it. I think it is her moment. And you know what? If she were to run and not win, she'd still be a United States Senator from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
What she would do is maybe lose a year of her life. Now, it costs a lot of your personal time, a heavy impact on you and on your family, and you're running, you're full-time, moving around the country, living out of hotels, the whole thing. But you know what? Cry me a river, right? You want to be president, you got to work for it. So maybe that's what she's afraid of. Maybe she just likes kicking back on the weekends. Well, I don't know. I'm disappointed that she'll get right to the end of the swimming of the diving board, right? like she did yesterday on CBS News, saying, we need a vigorous primary. Somebody's got to be out there talking about the middle class. And then she turns around and walks off the board and climbs down the ladder and goes back to her beach chair. Tim in Los Angeles, California. Tim, what do you think?
I think that what happens is that Elizabeth Warren probably realizes that there'll be a lot of excitement for her to run. She'll get elected, and then what we do as liberals, we do as Democrats is we leave our guy hanging in the midterms. And what'll happen is she'll have to have a Republican Congress, a Republican Senate that she's going to have to work with. They're not going to work with her. We've already seen that with Barack Obama. And we will repeat this pattern. We did it with Bill Clinton. I'm not sure if we did it with Carter. We did it with Barack Obama. So she probably realizes that her best opportunity is just to be an advocate on the sideline at the edge of the pool, as you said, rather than to jump in, because that's what we do. I mean, we have a historical pattern of doing that. In the midterms, leaving our guy hanging. So now he or she has to go and try to work with these people who have no desire to work with them.
Well, Tim, you make a good point, but then I think to me, there's no doubt, right, that after Barack Obama got elected in 2008, Democrats sat on their ass, did not get out and vote in 2010, and that stuck Barack Obama with a Republican House. I think recognizing that, Elizabeth Warren has to make it different. And by the way, I don't think Barack Obama did enough in 2010 to help Democrats hold on to the House. I think Elizabeth Warren has to recognize that it can't be the same. She's got to get out and she's got to recognize the problem and fix it and get out and work like hell to make sure that doesn't happen again and tell Democrats they can't let that happen again, rather than giving up the ghost ahead of time and not even fighting the good fight. She's got a lot of fight in her. Look at the way she fought for that Consumer Finance Protection Bureau bill. I mean, would not have happened without her. And when she pulled that off, she was just a professor, right? She wasn't an elected official, and she had a huge impact here in Washington. So she knows how to get things done. So I hear you, Tim. I think you make an excellent point, but we can't just accept that. That's like accepting defeat ahead of time. In Denton, Pennsylvania. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Press.
Bill, thank you. Yeah.
I don't think that Elizabeth Warren would ever get the backing of the Democratic Party machine. Just like they hung Paul Hackett in Ohio, a very populist blue-collar Democrat several years ago, and they just hung him out to dry. And I think that would be the same thing because it's like, the Republicans fear their base, Democrats hate their base.
Well, I disagree with you. I think she'd have a lot of support among the Democratic Party, certainly. And again, I'm not trying to ignore Bernie Sanders. We're just talking about Elizabeth Warren. But, I've been encouraging Bernie to run and Elizabeth Warren to run. But Elizabeth is the one that has captured the attention of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, MoveOn.org. There's several people out there now, groups that are trying to, there it is. BoldProgressives.org. Peter just handed me this bumper sticker. I'm from the Elizabeth Warren wing of the Democratic Party.
They're out there.
She's got a huge following, more than anybody else other than Hillary. Elizabeth Warren has support of people who want her to run for president, and I would say she's got the support of 90% of progressive activists who are out there looking at 2016, want to see a challenger to Hillary, and the name they always talk about is Elizabeth Warren. So, Elizabeth, again, you can't tease us. Do it or just sit down and shut up. Susan Paige weighs in on the issues of the day. Next, she's Washington Bureau Chief, of course, for USA Today and host of Capital Download on WUSA 9 here in Washington, D.C. on Sunday mornings.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
You know, sometimes when I'm walking down the street, I'm not necessarily looking out and seeing all these water-wasting lawns and people that aren't as connected to their neighbors and their lives as they could be. I'm walking down the street looking, going, edible oases, rainwater, fed landscape, and just looking at the possibility of these sort of landscapes up and down the streets of neighborhoods and communities all across this world. Small actions do ripple and they add up and they have a cumulative impact. And so when you're building upon your small mindful actions, you know, you have the confidence and the ability to take on something a little bit greater. So that could be nice. This, in the context of where we're at as a planet with climate change and these really big issues and people that are more disconnected and less skilled than ever, it becomes even more amazing and powerful how much of a solution this is to design these ecological gardens and to come together with shared vision and shared voice. There's never been a time where your choices have mattered more. Doing something as simple as us transforming a landscape creates a model that anybody could look at far and wide, and you're sharing food and connecting and building skills together in your own neighborhood. It's a richer way to live in normal times, but in the new normal of climate change and erratic weather and economic upheaval, it becomes essential. Whether it's me, you, Gandhi, Che, MLK, Willy Wonka, whoever, past, present, or future, the power of our daily actions is all that we have. You know, and like our community said, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I'll move the world. And that's what those simple actions do. They move the world every day.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
13 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday. How about it? Friday morning, April 10. So last night, I went with a lot of people, a lot of reporters, a lot of members of the White House Correspondents Association. Big crowds at East Street Theater last night, as mentioned at the top of the hour, for the premiere of the new documentary called Nerd Prom, featuring several prominent Washington journalists in this film. Nobody more prominent than the Washington bureau chief of USA Today, Susan Paige, on the big screen last night, saying that the Obama administration was perhaps the most dangerous administration for journalists of any in history.
Oh, my.
Susan, those words live on and on. Good morning.
Good morning. And just to note, the end of that sentence was in terms of prosecutions for leaks.
Yes, right.
So not in terms of every aspect. We had the Alien and Sedition Acts. I mean, we have had other presidents who have threatened press freedoms.
And you made that very strong point, and they showed part of that panel. By the way, it was... have you seen the film yet?
I have not. I find this alarming that I'm up there, so I'll have to look at it.
Well, you're up there several times. You should. You must watch it. But so it also shows a clip at the press club that Attorney General Eric Holder is speaking, and then he's taking questions. And as you know, they do at the press club. They read the questions that have been submitted by the audience. So whoever the president of the head of the luncheon reads this question about that you have. Prosecuted or followed at least 8 journalists or 8 people for leaking information to journalists or something. And how can you defend that? And Eric Holder gets up and he says, well, first of all, to set the record straight, we have prosecuted 7, not 8. As if,
thanks.
No big deal, right? Just 7.
And yet still more than all other presidents in history combined.
Right.
You can. Attorney General Holder and others have argued that it's against the law for officials to leak information. It can have serious consequences. On the other hand, they have taken a more aggressive approach against these leaks to journalists than their predecessors have.
Right, and that and the whole question of access, those are some of the issues that are dealt with in this movie. Now, I have to ask you, Susan, that this rumor that's all over this morning that Hillary Clinton might actually announce on Sunday? And it's this Friday, and we don't even know this yet?
You know, we knew she was likely to do a different kind of announcement, unlike Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Rand Paul, because she has a different imperative here. You know, she doesn't really need people to know she's running. I think that's pretty clear. She needs people to take a fresh look at her and see her as a less imperial character, and I think that's the kind of announcement we're going to see from her.
But don't you think, and apparently she's going to do this while she's on her way to Iowa? I mean, it does take some planning for TV crews to get to Iowa, for example, or reporters to get to Iowa.
You know, I think that Hillary Clinton's problem will not be that reporters won't be there to cover the stuff she does. So it's not like she's Lincoln Chafee. Lincoln Chafee would need to let us know when he's announcing so that we can decide whether to be there and get people there. Hillary Clinton does not have this problem.
Lincoln Chafee would have to let people know who he is first, right? Yeah.
Well, and that he's a Democrat, since he's a Republican and an independent and only in recent years a Democrat.
Right. So did you hear anything yesterday about this Hillary thing? I mean, is there officially, or is it
I have not. I've seen that the Daily News is reporting this and the Daily Beast, but we do know that a clock is ticking for her in terms of the FEC rules. She signed a lease in Brooklyn, and she then has 15 days to set up the legal structure to pay the rent. So we know it's coming pretty soon. And in 2008, she announced on a Saturday morning, you may remember, and on social media.
Oh, I remember, right? Exactly. Yeah. So now I'm intrigued by your big interview this week. Susan is also, of course, host of Capital Download Sunday mornings at 8:30 on WUSA 9 here in Washington, D.C. And your interview this week with Senator Tom Cotton, who certainly has made a name for himself in the 2 or 3 days he's been a United States Senator.
No, that's so unfair. It's been 3 months.
Oh, 3 months now. I'm sorry. Yes. And how did you find him?
Well, you know, I think that there was a time, right, when senators would be sworn in and they would keep back and seniority was a big deal and you weren't supposed to speak out at first. I think that those rules are all gone. I mean, you look not only at Tom Cotton, but at Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. Rand Paul. All these are freshman senators who feel empowered to speak up and take leadership.
Three of them are running for president.
You know, here's a fun thing about Tom Cotton. Did you know that the Arkansas State Legislature is in the process of changing its law so that in 2020, Tom Cotton would be able to run for re-election to the Senate and also run for president.
No.
Yeah,
really?
The state Senate has passed this. The state House is considering it.
Maybe they could wait a little bit. I mean, you know, this right?
That's old think, Bill.
Oh, I guess so.
The 2020 race has begun.
So this Tom Cotton he has made a name for himself, but I'm not sure it's a name that it's sort of a reputation to be proud of. Didn't he say this week that no problem with Iran, 2 or 3 days of bombing, and that would take care of Iran?
That's right. He said that he said that on a radio show on Monday. He said that again on the interview I did with him yesterday, and he also said, I said, well, some people are comparing this to those assurances before the invasion of Iraq from Dick Cheney and others that it would be a quick conflict, and he dismissed that idea and said that compared it to Operation Desert Fox, which was a Bill Clinton bombing campaign for 4 days in Iraq, and said that it could, number one, it could work in crippling Iranian nuclear facilities, and number two, it wouldn't engulf us in a wider war.
Well, man, I got to tell you, I think history proves him dead wrong. But just to say something like that, I think, if you lift your head up above the foxhole like he does on that issue, right? He's got to suffer the consequences if he's wrong, and I think he's dead wrong. Right?
Well, that's certainly true. He's out there. He's, it's not like some gaffe that he didn't mean to say.
Yeah.
He's now said it on a couple occasions. It's apparently what he believes. But he is a very ambitious and very conservative Republican. He's one term in the House, now his first term in the Senate. He's 37 years old, an Iraq War veteran. He's now, in fact, the youngest member in the Senate.
Yeah, and let's remember, he got 46 other senators, including some of the most senior members of the United States Senate, to sign a letter that he had written when he'd only been there, 60 days or something like that.
He noted that Orrin Hatch signed his letter, and he said, Orrin Hatch has been a senator longer than I've been alive.
Oh, my God. There you go. All right. What a coup. Great get. Thanks, Susan, so much. We'll see you Sunday morning on the Capital Download.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, at USA Today, WUSA.9, 8:30 a.m., and she is the Washington Bureau Chief, of course, for USA Today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
Two anti-government, self-described revolutionaries have shot up a pizza restaurant as well as a Walmart in Las Vegas.
The internationally syndicated political series, The David Pakman Show, provides progressive talk, analysis, and interviews with the nation's youngest radio and television host, David Pakman. Find out more and catch up on all the latest episodes by visiting our website at freespeech.org.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
We'll jump into the politics of the moment with Kyle Kondik from the Center for Politics down at the University of Virginia. And then Glenn Thrush from Politico joins us a little bit later in the hour number 2, coming up here on this Friday, April 10th.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right, are you ready for a Friday show? Indeed. Here we are, rolling into the end of the week on the Bill Press Show this Friday, April 10, 2015. Great to see you today. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching on Free Speech TV nationwide, anywhere in this great land of ours, or worldwide if you're tuning in on your electronic device on our video stream at Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker, TAWKR-TV. It is good to have you with us with lots to talk about. President Obama, after a brief stopover in Jamaica to visit the Bob Marley Museum, he is now in Panama for the Summit of the Americas. The big news is there the White House confirms that somehow, unofficially, probably not a formal meeting of the two, President Obama will interact with Cuban President Raul Castro and engage in conversation about some important issues, including easing the travel ban to Cuba, easing it even more than the president has already done so, opening embassies, our embassy in Havana and Cuba's embassy here in Washington, and perhaps even lifting Cuba from the list of state sponsors of terrorism. The president confirmed yesterday that the State Department has completed its study of that issue. Down in North Charleston, South Carolina, a new video has emerged in the incident which led to the murder of Walter Scott. This is the dash cam video, which shows everything starting as a routine traffic stop down in North Charleston. And, of course, that eventually led to a very tragic outcome, the killing of Walter Scott, and murder charges filed against Officer Michael Slager. And the presidential field could get a lot more crowded this weekend with Marco Rubio. Lincoln Chafee from Rhode Island has already jumped in. Marco Rubio jumps in on Monday. And maybe, that's a big rumor, Hillary Clinton on Sunday. Wow. Get ready to call at 866-55-PRESS. And thanks for joining us here on this Friday Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. I mean, there was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. You could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. The truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found on the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
Around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
It's the hot rumor of the day that Hillary Clinton might actually announce for president this weekend on Sunday morning. Not in the church either. Maybe on Twitter. Hey, hello, everybody. What do you say? Friday, April 10. This is it, and this is the Bill Press Show. Good to see you, and good to have you with us here this Friday, coming to you live from Washington, D.C., as always, in our studio on Capitol Hill, bringing you up to date on the news of the day, such as it is, as you start out this Friday morning. We'll tell you what's going on here in Washington, on the political scene around the country, as well as other news of the day and what's happening worldwide as well. You can join us at any time, and we invite your calls, because we're there, first of all, with you on your local progressive talk radio station, where you can give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Join the conversation. Tell us what you think about the issues of the day. We're also looking at you on Free Speech TV nationwide. That's Direct TV. And on worldwide on our video stream, youtube.com/talkertv. Want to jump into politics? We hesitate to do so without getting the shoulder of our good friend Kyle Kondik from the Center for Politics down at the University of Virginia to lean on. And Kyle is here back in studio with us again today. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Nice to see you. How's our friend Larry Sabato?
Oh, doing well. Working hard as always.
Yeah, this is a great season for him, right?
Well,
leading up to a presidential and a big Senate races, and I mean,
it's funny that 2014 ended and then 2016 just started up immediately, and it really started when Jeb Bush kind of surprisingly basically announced for president in the middle of December, and we've been it's been full throttle ever since then.
Yeah, and right now we're at a sort of where almost every day or at least once a week somebody new jumps into the presidential. Our team here, Peter Ogburn and Elisa Murphy.
Hey, happy Friday.
Salute. Nice to have you here. Alicia Cruz. She's standing by to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Monty Kensler is filling in as our videographer today on Free Speech TV and on Talker TV. I mentioned, Kyle, I didn't see you last night, but there's a opening of a documentary film here on the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night, which I attended. Film put together by our good friend Patrick Gavin, who used to be with Politico up until about a year ago. Then he quit, spent this last year. He stars, he conceived of the movie, wrote the movie, and stars in the movie. Nerd Prom, it's called. And you could check it out at nerdpromthemovie.com. There's a big crowd there last night, and it does not give a very flattering portrayal of the White House Correspondents.
And I'm sure that unflattering portrayal is totally deserved, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't doubt it's unfair.
It just talks about particularly about all the parties that surround the dinner, and how much money is spent on them.
Oh, yeah.
And how little is accomplished.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, it's a self-gratulatory entire week.
Pretty much.
Yeah, of events. Meanwhile, President Obama's having a good time. When you got to go to Panama for a summit of the Americas, what do? Well, you make a little stop on the way, which he did.
Yep.
In Jamaica land.
It is great to be in beautiful Jamaica. Not only because I'm proud to be the first president of the United States to visit in more than 30 years, but because I just like the vibe here.
That's great, man.
You can hear it in his voice. At the White House, we kept asking Josh Earnest, why is he going to Jamaica? Like, what's going on? And nobody could answer it. And pretty soon we all just realized he's just going to Jamaica.
He just wanted to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's the president. Hey, he's got that right.
On the way. It's not like he went to Jamaica on the way to Moscow or anything. I mean, going on Jamaica on the way to Panama kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I get it.
If you're ever going
if I was president, I wouldn't waste
Sounds
much
great.
time. Yeah.
If I had Air Force One sitting there.
A lot of places I'd just go to because.
Just pointed in your direction. Yeah. And he's still got South Dakota left on his list of states that he has not yet visited.
That's the one left.
That's the one state left. So he might have gone to South Dakota on the way to Panama. I don't blame him for choosing Jamaica instead. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. Lots of political activity to talk about with Kyle Kondik. Glenn Thrush from Politico joins us at the half hour. And in the next hour, trial lawyer and legal analyst Debbie Hines on what's happening down and what are the chances in that trial for Officer Michael Slager down in North Charleston, South Carolina. But first, Peter,
this is the Full Court Press.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple other stories making news. Remember earlier this week I told you about how we have a new oldest person in the world, Geraldine Talley of Inkster, Michigan. It's okay, she's still alive.
Oh, I'll go for sure.
I know.
The last woman, Gertrude Weaver.
Peter gives one of these stories, they die the next day.
Previously, the oldest person was Gertrude Weaver, a title that she held for just like less than a week before she passed on. So Geraldine Talley, we talked about how she's the oldest person. So the Detroit Free Press caught up with her, because she lives near Detroit, to find out just exactly how she lived to be 116. She says it's pretty easy, actually. Quote, use a lot of skin moisturizer, treat everyone nice, love your neighbor, and eat your own cooking. Don't eat at fast food places. There you go. You want to live to be 116? You just use that. Use that.
I'm in trouble on that count.
Same here. Same here. St. Louis, Missouri, the St. Louis Arch, it's in pretty bad shape. I don't know if you realize this. It's still structurally sound, but they sent some crews up to take a look at it because it's filthy. It has graffiti, it has stains, it has all kinds of...
Even up the top?
Even up, way up there. Well, that's the thing, right? If you're really good at it, at putting graffiti up there, you don't get caught doing it. But the problem is, they said, well, it's just going to have to kind of be there for now because they don't really have the money to get up there and clean it. But they did have a group go up and take a look and make sure that it wasn't anything that was threatening to the arch or that could damage it long term or could pose a threat to anybody that was near it or standing under it. And they said, no, it's fine. It's structurally sound. It's just dirty. So... there you go. When you go see it next time, you'll see it's a little...
Yeah, I've only seen it once, and looked pretty good to me.
Did it? All right. And when Georgina Bloomberg, daughter of Michael Bloomberg, took her grandson Jasper to the British Embassy earlier this week because Michael Bloomberg was getting an honorary knighthood, Joe Biden was there, and we know how much Joe Biden loves the babies, right? So he grabbed the babies, holding on to the baby. Little baby takes a pacifier out of his mouth and puts it right in Joe Biden's mouth. Biden didn't hesitate. He just kept the pacifier in his mouth. That's the longest Joe Biden has kept his mouth shut in a long time.
That's funny.
Poor Joe.
The picture is out there. We're going to tweet it out. That folks at the Hill grabbed it. We're going to put it out on our Twitter feed at BP Show.
Isn't Michael Bloomberg going to be the next mayor of London, supposedly?
That's right. There's a rumor floating around.
He's being encouraged to run.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, he did a pretty good job in New York, so he could probably handle London as well. All right, Kyle, you got to weigh in first on the. You mentioned Joe Biden. Why isn't Joe Biden running for president?
I don't think. Look, I think that on one hand, I think Democrats kind of like Joe Biden as kind of like the crazy uncle, basically, of the party. But I think that his reputation over the years as kind of this gaffe machine and just kind of doing a lot of silly things has really, it doesn't make him look presidential, and people don't think of him in that way. And it's to the point where, he's the sitting vice president, but Hillary Clinton runs 40, 50 points ahead of him in polls. And so there's just not any groundswell of interest, I think, in Biden actually being president. Like, again, I don't think Democrats dislike him. I just think that they much prefer Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, which is unfair in many ways, because if you look at it in terms of experience, in terms of position on the issues, or in terms of expertise, I think he's got as much as she does.
Yeah, I just think it's the price that he's paid for, these stories of him just saying really weird things and that again, I think a lot of conservatives argue that he doesn't take the sort of heat that he should, that Republicans might get if they said the things that he says, and I think that's kind of true, but he has paid a price, and that's his presidential ambitions, I think.
At the same time, people like him just because he's who he is. Let Joe be Joe, right? And he's maintained that. But so the big rumor of the day, of course, we talked a little bit earlier about it. I mean, that the New York Daily News reports that some source close to Hillary Clinton said she's going to drop the other shoe this Sunday on Twitter and announce that she is running for president.
Yeah, it seems like this report.
Is that the way to go?
Well, the thing is that for a Ted Cruz or a Rand Paul or Marco Rubio who's announcing on Monday, they're not universally known in the United States. They have to boost their name ID even amongst Republicans. Whereas Hillary Clinton has 100% name ID. People are pretty entrenched, I think, about how they feel about her. And so does she really need to have a giant, media show for her announcement? I mean, probably not. Didn't she announce on via social media in 2008? Remember she had that video. She wants to have a conversation and all that.
Yes.
So it seems like that's sort of the same deal here. And, I also think she's probably going to be running a fairly safe campaign, at least through the primary process, because she's such a favorite, a much bigger favorite than she was at this time 8 years ago.
Right. And this time 8 years ago, there were even more than 8 years ago, there were people telling a young U.S. Senator from Illinois, Barack Obama, "Oh, man, dude, you'd be crazy to challenge Hillary Clinton," right? That's what they're telling Elizabeth Warren today. Elizabeth Warren was on CBS News yesterday, CBS this morning, with Charlie Rose, where she makes a point that some people have been making about her. Let's listen to Elizabeth Warren.
Look, I think there needs to be a vigorous debate in the whole question about running for president. I think everyone who's running for president should be talking about what they plan to do to strengthen and rebuild America's middle class. Let's be clear, this has been my lifetime's work, and I have watched year by year by year where America's middle class just has to take one punch after another. We've reached a point, this isn't going to work anymore.
All right, so here she's saying, we need a vigorous debate. The issue's got to be the middle class. This is the issue that I have made my entire life work. And then you expect her to say, so that's why I'm running for president.
Yeah. And there's been no indication that she's going to do it. No. She's denied interest many, many times.
What's wrong with her?
Well, I mean, some people, she doesn't want to. Maybe she feels like she can influence things better in the Senate. She feels like maybe she can't win. Maybe she just doesn't want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not like she's a lifetime politician. But I will say I think
you got to have the fire in your belly.
Yeah, I do think that there would be room for her in the race, and I think that she'd be pretty serious challenger to Clinton because, I mean, there are a lot of people who frankly, who voted for Barack Obama or even for John Edwards in 2008, who did not like Hillary Clinton very much, and they'll remember once she really becomes a candidate how much they didn't like her, even as Democrats. Now, that doesn't mean that they would vote Republican or something in November 2016. Of course they wouldn't, but they might want to hear from somebody else. And if that person's not Elizabeth Warren, then maybe it's Martin O'Malley, maybe it's Lincoln Chafee, the former Rhode Island governor. Just got it. No, I mean what's interesting about Chafee and also former Virginia Senator Jim Webb, who are closer to running than Elizabeth Warren is that they're probably not even as liberal as Hillary Clinton is. Whereas I think O'Malley probably is like more liberal than Clinton, and certainly Elizabeth Warren is too. So, again, I do think that once the race got started, there would be some Democrats who'd be looking for someone else, and if Warren wanted to do it, now's the time to do it.
The Democrats that I talk to, and the sense that I have, there's a lot of support for Hillary, no doubt about it. There's also a huge number of Democrats who A, want to see a contested primary, and B, are very, very nervous about Hillary. Well, because they have seen before that she's not that strong, not that great a candidate, particularly when she's not challenged.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said, too, about Clinton being forced to sort of shake the rust off in this calendar year. I mean, it's just like anything else. You need practice as a candidate. And again, it's a hard thing to kind of quantify. But I think, and also, look, there are a lot of Democrats like Elizabeth Warren who are not going to like Hillary Clinton as a general election candidate if they don't push her to the left now, because I think a lot of people misremember the Bill Clinton presidency. Like he didn't govern, he was not he wasn't as liberal as Barack Obama was or is, and I think a lot of Democrats are probably disappointed in Obama and don't think he went far enough to the left. And the only way to hold Clinton accountable is to challenge her in the primary and sort of force her to take stands on things that she otherwise will just skate on.
Yeah. 2016 is all about control of the U.S. Senate and the House. Kyle Kondik here from the Center for Politics, managing director of Crystal Ball down at the University of Virginia Center for Politics. I want to ask you about your new book, The Surge, when we come back here.
Sure.
Hey, you want to throw in a comment or a question? 866-55-PRESS is the way to do it.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all of the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university? And,
yeah, people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies in Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer.
Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go, 26 minutes now after the hour, the national political scene. Nobody better to do it with than Kyle Kondik. He's with Larry Sabato down at the Center for Politics, University of Virginia. And he and Larry and Jeff Skelly have just produced their book on the
2014 elections, and we look ahead to 2016, called The Surge.
It's The Surge, right.
And we've got a lot of good contributors, Robert Costa from Washington Post, Jamel Bowie from Slate, James Homan from Politico, a number of others. And we sort of look at the election from all angles. We look back at the results and have a lot of tables and charts in there, and then sort of look forward to what we might expect in 2016.
Yeah, what did we learn from the 2014 election, looking ahead to 2016? It is available, of course, on Amazon and all the other book sites and at your local bookstore. It's, again, The Surge, and check it out. We'll have a link up on our website as well.
Thank you.
You mentioned, Ted Cruz. We got Rand Paul. Marco Rubio is going to announce on Monday. These are all first-term U.S. senators. Mm-hmm. So the U.S. Senate is very much in play in 2016, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how's it shaking? I mean, early, but how's it shaking down?
Well, when Marco Rubio announces for president on Monday, as everyone expects him to do in Miami, that's going to open up his Senate seat, which, an open Senate seat in Florida in a presidential year, that's to me a total coin flip of a race.
Unless he changes his mind and runs for re-election.
Yeah, that would be a shock if he did that.
Yeah.
Based on reports. It also seems like a lot of these guys are not exactly keen to be in the Senate, which I guess I can't blame them. but people are just using it as sort of a stepping stone for other jobs. But so the race for the Senate, so it's 54-46 Republican right now. So the Democrats would need to win 4 seats to take it back if they hold the White House, or 5 if they don't. But you have toss-up races with first-term incumbents in places like Pennsylvania with Pat Toomey, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, Mark Kirk in Illinois, Rob Portman in Ohio is a first-term Republican who should have a decent challenge, and then open seat in Florida. These are all Republican-held seats. The only open Democratic seat of note in terms of being competitive in a general election is Nevada, now that Harry Reid is retired. Yeah. But for the most part, it's very competitive Republican seats.
That's the way to wrap it up. Kyle Kondik, thank you for being with us.
This is the
Surge.
Bill
Check it
Press
out.
Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Racing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
The most valuable morning radio show, according to The Nation magazine. This is The Bill Press Show.
33 minutes after the hour, here we go on Friday, April 10, The Bill Press Show. We are here in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, our studio right down the street from the United States Capitol building. And we are brought to you by the American Federation of Government Employees, the good men and women of the AFGE, who day to day keep our federal agencies going, not just here in Washington, but around the country, under the leadership of President J. David Cox. Proud to work for America every day. You bet. And you can find out more about their good work at their website, afge.org. Well, you got to be careful what you put out there on the social media these days because everybody's watching it, everybody's reading it, and everybody takes it so damn seriously, as Glenn Thrush, our good friend, senior writer for Politico Magazine, discovered yesterday when he tweeted out, yes, Hillary's collapsing completely. Hillary's collapsing completely. Shouldn't even bother to enter the race. And that ended up the lead story on the Drudge Report yesterday. Glenn Thrush joins us on our newsline this morning. Glenn, you're always stirring up trouble, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, I got to say. So, as you know, yesterday there was all those, Quinnipiac put out about 3 polls saying that Hillary was losing ground in a couple of swing states.
Yeah, right.
And everyone was tweeting, and I got a bunch of emails from Republicans sort of saying, like, this is it, she's collapsing entirely. And that was what I was responding to. And I figured, in a million years, I never would have figured anyone would interpret it the wrong way. But apparently the Daily Caller, ironically named Daily Caller because they never call anybody to figure out if anything's right, put that up. And I got a bunch of interesting email, including some from my bosses.
Well, yeah, I'll bet. So the Daily Caller picks it up, and then Drudge picks it up, and it becomes a... Now, we know you've always wanted to be the banner headline on Drudge, Glenn, but you probably never thought this is how you would get there, huh?
Well, I was flattered,
And how long How long were you?
I felt like I arrived.
What? Yeah, you felt like... But how long did it before they, realized that they were on thin ice and took it down?
Oh, not long, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Which is a lifetime.
Which is a drudge lesson. I got a bunch more. I have to say, I did get a bunch more Twitter followers yesterday.
Oh, good. That's nice.
There you go. It all paid out in the end. Well, then, little did you know, right? I guess probably responding to prove that she is not collapsing completely. Now it looks, there's rumor at least, that she's actually going to announce on Sunday.
Well, yeah. No, we've been hearing, I'd say for the past week, that Hillary was planning, that there was really kind of almost a 72-hour or really as short as a 48-hour window this weekend, really starting from this afternoon through Sunday evening, that this was going to happen. So I think it is not, I don't think many people have been able to confirm. There's a story out of The Guardian in England that she will kick things off with a trip to Iowa on Sunday. That very well might be true, but people aren't confirming it. But yes, I think certainly we're going to see this thing finally come to pass over the probably by Monday morning.
Well, we don't know whether it was your tweet that prompted her to up her schedule, or maybe the move by Lincoln Chafee yesterday in Rhode Island, forming his exploratory committee.
Or Marco Rubio announcing next week. Lincoln Chafee, Marco Rubio, and who knows, maybe Bernie Sanders has something planned.
All the heavyweights?
Not to mock Bernie. I mean,
no.
He might, of those, he might be the most serious.
All the heavyweights jumping in here, right? Rubio. So Rubio on Monday. Do we just assume that Jeb Bush is already in, or is that still a question mark?
Well, it's really funny. We have the charade of these announcements is ridiculous. These are, all of these campaigns exist.
Yeah, right.
Jeb Bush has a communications director, Tim Miller. He's got consultants. I mean, the thing is running. And Hillary has an entire campaign infrastructure. There's probably, we know of, probably 50 to 75 hires that have already been made. So the notion that we need to go through this charade of people announcing is ridiculous. Really, what purpose does it serve? We know these campaigns are going.
Yeah, they're already. I guess at some point, we all play the game too, right? I mean, until they make it official, they're not official, but yet they really are.
I really don't know why we. I think we're going to have to reconsider all this. I mean, why the hell are we doing this? It's so much reporting time. The people who really get jazzed about this stuff are editors, as opposed to the reporters who cover this, because essentially there has been a Hillary Clinton press corps in existence for the past 3 months. Like every major organization, we have, including myself, probably 5 people assigned to Hillary. I wouldn't say full time, but really pointed in that direction. The Times has, I don't know, 8 or 12 people that write about her. The notion that a candidate can control the precise timing of these announcements, I think, is absurd.
Now, Glenn, I didn't see you there last night, but I attended the premiere of the new documentary called Nerd Prom, which your former colleague, Patrick Gavin,
yeah,
from Politico, left Politico a year ago and spent the last year putting this documentary together. And we're now in Nerd Prom season, or leading up to, well, we're there. It's already started. It's not a very flattering portrayal of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That's what it's all about, which is called Nerd Prom here in Washington. What's your take on I don't know whether you've seen the documentary.
I haven't, but I've seen the unflattering take.
You've seen something, right? You've seen the real thing too. What's your
My favorite moment at the Nerd Prom was probably a few years ago.
Yeah.
When my wife and I were invited to a VIP reception because I'd won an award. And by the way, when you win an award, and that's what the thing is for, right? Ostensibly?
Of course.
You are treated like steerage.
Yeah.
It's like literally the last thing anyone gives a damn about, right? So
Yes.
The moment that I think encapsulates the White House Correspondents' Dinner for me is we were standing, I had gone down the escalator on the way to the VIP reception. My wife was at the top of the escalator. She was like adjusting her dress so that she wouldn't step on it as she's going down. And she was shoved out of the way by a Kardashian I could not identify.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
And as you know, those Kardashians, when they kind of get in if you know what I mean, if they get in your space, you're going to be moving to the left or to the right.
No, I don't know what you mean. We don't get to run around with Kardashians.
I think on the back of the dress, it was on the left side it said heaven, and on the right side it said hell.
Well, in the documentary, there is a clip from Ann Compton, formerly of ABC News, of course, a great person and a great reporter. She, just making sure all over the rest of our audience knows about Ann Compton. She was president a few years back, and she comes to the microphone and asks the crowd to quiet down. Because they're, to your point about those who receive the scholarship awards or the journalists who receive awards for their work, nobody in that ballroom gives a damn about any of them.
None.
They talk all the way through it. Ann comes up to the microphone and pleads for people to shut up, basically, or at least pay attention, because she makes the point that the students who were chosen for the awards, that the room was so loud they could not even hear their names being called to come up to get their award. That's how loud it was. It's just, yeah. So do you think it's ever going to change?
No, I mean, the city needs something like this because of its ego. You have to. I'm trying to think if New York has anything comparable, and I think it's called Saturday Night, right? It's D.C. really is just this, and I'm a New Yorker, and so I can say this. I just think D.C. has this incredible inferiority complex, right? It's neither fish nor fowl. It's not a glamorous place. I heard somebody, I'm misquoting it, but someone, I think the line on D.C. is the fashion is 10 years behind New York, right? I just think the city itself is too powerful to not have some outward indicator that some outward way of expressing that power. And it is as we all know, it is such a boring town the other 364 days of the year.
Right. So Patrick makes this point in the movie. L.A. has the Oscars, New Orleans has Mardi Gras, and Washington, for better or for worse, we've got the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yes, and let's not forget, and Poland has pogroms.
Glenn Thrush, good to have you with us, my friend. Thanks so much. All right,
Great talking to you.
Anytime you want to stir up trouble, come on back on the show. Glenn Thrush from Politico, Politico.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
What gets you into college? Good SAT scores? High GPA? Lots of extracurriculars?
Sure, but what you really need is money.
If you don't have the cash, you'll need a loan.
And we mean huge student loans because the cost of college has risen 1,000% in the last 30 years.
This means big money for the banks that collect fees and interest.
Now, millions of young people are starting their adult lives with an average of $29,000 of loans on their backs.
Altogether, we're talking $1.2 trillion in student debt.
And more people are finding it impossible to pay them back. Welcome to the student debt crisis.
The increasing demand for higher education and cuts to state funding gave colleges a huge incentive to keep inflating prices.
I graduated about a year ago, currently in $35,000 of debt.
I am in debt about like $25,000.
I owe $23,000.
I owe over $50,000 in student loans.
38.8 million Americans owe money on a student loan.
And the biggest names in banking are making huge profits off the booming student loan industry. Sallie Mae, the largest provider of private student loans, made $949 million last year.
They only give you about 6 months to look for a job. You have to start paying back the loan. It's very pressuring, especially nowadays. It's very hard to find a job.
Over half of the students graduating in 2012 could not find a decent paying job.
They either had low-wage jobs or unpaid internships or were unemployed altogether.
So you can't make the payments. You start incurring late fees, which makes the loan even harder to pay off.
And it stays with you for years, even decades.
Right now, a third of the people who started repaying their loans are delinquent or in default.
That's 13.7 million people, more than the populations of Chicago, New York, and San Francisco combined.
Worse, it's not just the borrowers who are in trouble. Many loans require co-signers.
So if the student is unable to pay, that co-signer, a father, a mother, or a grandparent, is now on the hook.
Even a grandparent's Social Security benefits can be garnished to pay the loan.
We should have an answer to this. If you get really behind in your car payment or your credit cards, you can file for bankruptcy.
But Congress has made it nearly impossible to discharge student loans through bankruptcy.
Big institutions make big profits while students try to make ends meet under crushing debt.
Is this how we want our education system to work?
The whole point of going to college is to get the career you want, but lately that's been discouraged because no one can afford school. You get a job just to pay off your student loans.
We need higher education, not higher debt.
Sign up to end the student debt crisis at higherednotdebt.org.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Make it 13 minutes after, before the top of the hour here. On Friday, April the 10th, into the weekend we go, but only after hour number 3. Debbie Hines, trial lawyer and legal analyst, will be here, and we'll talk with her about this case of murder down in North Charleston, South Carolina, and the new video that has emerged of the traffic stop itself from the dashboard camera of the police car. And then we're going to kick back. It is Friday. The manager of a classic Washington Capitol Hill hangout called the Hawk and Dove, just down the street from our studio, will be here joining us. You know, like, what else to do on a Friday morning but sample different kinds of Bloody Marys?
That's right, man. Let's get started early.
God, and I was going to go to the gym after the show.
You were going to go to the gym.
I have my gym bag right here.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking, homie. I don't think that's going to happen.
At least the Bloody Mary is socially acceptable to drink in the morning as opposed to whiskey.
It's got tomatoes. You've got other vegetables as garnish. It's like having a little salad for breakfast.
Can I have a Virgin Mary?
I mean, you could.
I don't know about that.
Everyone's going to make fun of you, but sure.
All right. Yeah. So, hey, that's what's coming up. President Obama. A very important meeting down in Panama, the Summit of the Americas. This one might have been pretty tense. because the whole question was the leaders of the Summit of America said, this year we're inviting Cuba. Damn it, we don't care what the United States thinks about it. Well, the United States President Obama last December announcing a whole new approach to our relations with Cuba, starting to lift this, wanting to lift the sanctions against Cuba, the embargo against Cuba. Congress has to do that. But certainly, he said it's time to restore relations between the two countries. They've been talking, the talks have been underway about how to achieve that. And that leads to now we're very happy with the presence of President Raul Castro in Panama. And there is some speculation somehow, one way or the other, the two leaders are going to get together and have a chance to at least chat about the issues that are still on the table, like opening our embassy in Havana, opening their embassy here, like easing further the travel restrictions to the point where people can just freely travel to Cuba. They don't have to jump through the hoops of the Treasury Department about explaining why they're going there as a journalist or as studying the arts or studying Cuba's medical system or healthcare system or whatever. No, just go and relax on the beach. That's the second thing. And the third thing that they will definitely touch on is the fact that we still have Cuba listed as a state sponsor of terrorism. The State Department has finished its study of that issue about is it time to take Cuba off the list, and President Obama not expected to make the official announcement this weekend, but is certainly leaning in that direction and may discuss that with President Raul Castro. Meanwhile, and we'll report that as soon as we hear anything this morning, or talk about it probably on Monday. Meanwhile, the president made a kind of unusual stop on the way. He was there yesterday and spent last night in Jamaica, where he went. The first thing he did when he got off the plane was went to the Bob Marley Museum, which he says was probably the highlight of his trip and one of the best things he's ever done as president.
The quick trip that I made last night to Bob Marley's house was one of the more fun meetings that I've had since I've been president, as a big fan since I was in high school, and is indicative of the incredible spirit of the Jamaican people.
The president, the next day, that was the day he arrived, the next day, yesterday, he held a sort of a town hall with young leaders of the Caribbean nations and talking about these efforts on the part of the United States to help train some leaders there to lead these nations into the future. President Obama with this new Caribbean initiative.
We're going to seek out the most innovative young entrepreneurs and civil society leaders in the Caribbean, Latin America, and we're going to give them a chance to earn a substantial continuum of the training and the resources and the connections, the networks, and the capital that you need to make a difference.
So these people, again, grow as young leaders of this region, which is so important to the United States. And at that town hall, you can expect there are some colorful characters in Jamaica. And the president met at least one of them at this town hall.
Yes, greetings, Mr. President.
How are you?
More life and blessings on you and your family.
What's your name?
My name is Miguel Williams, but you can call I Stepper.
Stepper.
Yeah, man. That is quite sufficient. Yeah, man. My question has to do and surrounds U.S. policy as it regards the legalization, the decriminalization of marijuana.
How did I anticipate this?
Yeah,
That's so
That
good.
is beautiful.
Oh, man.
Good, yeah.
That's the greatest.
Yeah, Obama knew exactly where he was going.
How did I know?
How did I know? That you were going to ask about pot.
Steppa.
Yes, you could.
Yes, sir.
Here's my name. But all my friends, you could just call me Steppa.
Oh, man.
It was.
Boy.
Isn't that great? Yeah.
Oh, man.
And the president went on to say, well, in fact, the president said 2 states in the United States have so far legalized it. He's behind the times here. We're up to 4, dude. Okay? Yeah, we're up to 4 now. Okay, he forgot about Alaska and Oregon joining the ranks here, so he's got to catch up.
Oh, man, that's funny.
There
Holy
we go. And the president on to Panama, and we'll tell you what's on his schedule in Panama today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
When I started learning about nutrition, about which, by the way, much less is known than you might think, I learned that what mattered most about one's health was not necessarily the nutrients, good or bad, that you were consuming or staying away from, or even the calorie counts. But what predicted a healthy diet more than anything else is the fact that it was being cooked by a human being and not a corporation. Corporations cook very differently than people do. They use vast amounts of salt, fat, and sugar, much more than you would ever use in your own cooking. And the reason they do that is those are 3 incredibly attractive and incredibly cheap ingredients. And when they're layered properly, as in a chip or pastries and forms of junk food, they're incredibly addictive. They really press our buttons. They activate our dopamine network, our cravings. And in fact, people in the industry, they don't talk about addiction in the food industry, even though they traffic in addiction. They talk about craveability. It's the same thing. And snackability is another term they use. It's a lovely word. And then the last point about corporate cooking that's important to understand is they cook different stuff than you do at home. What they're good at, in general, they don't cook that well, but things like chips, they cook incredibly well. And here's a classic food that if you make it yourself, if you've ever made French fries, you have to wash the potatoes, you have to peel the potatoes, you have to slice the potatoes, you have to fry them in a lot of oil, you have to spatter your entire stovetop, you have to clean up, and then you have this pot of oil you have to get rid of. I mean, it's really difficult, and it's a pain. They're wonderful, but it's a pain. And if you make them yourself, you'll only eat them every 6 weeks, 2 months, because it's too much work. But when you let corporations cook for you, it's so simple and so inexpensive, and they're really good, that you will have them twice a day, as many people in America do. So you see the kinds of foods you end up with are these labor-intensive foods and desserts. These special occasion foods become everyday foods when we let industry cook for us. Eat anything you want, just cook it yourself.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, well, I got to tell you, President Obama, he may have had a kickback time in Jamaica, but he is working his butt off today down in Panama, meetings leading up to and then the beginning of this Pan-American Summit, or Summit of the Americas. Starts off at 10:30 this morning with a bilateral meeting with the president of Panama. Then he meets with leaders of SICA, business leaders down in Panama. Then he goes to a CEO Summit of the Americas. Again, more business leaders. He speaks to the Civil Society Forum and takes part in a roundtable with civil society leaders in Panama. And all of that is leading up to the arrival ceremony for the Summit of the Americas, which is 7 o'clock this evening, the inauguration ceremony at the Convention Center in Panama City. Then they take the big official leaders photo. And after that, a leaders dinner tonight. Man, I got to tell you, That's just the beginning, day one of the Summit of the Americas. When we come back, Debbie Hines joins us, legal analyst, to talk about North Charleston, South Carolina.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You can watch us live on Talker TV, youtube.com/Talker TV, TAWKR TV, or at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central on Free Speech TV. In the next hour, Debbie Hines, legal analyst, will join us to take a look at the legal implications of this upcoming trial of Officer Michael Slager down in North Charleston, South Carolina, for the murder of Walter Scott. And then we're just going to kick back and sample a few Bloody Marys for the weekend. Hey, why not? It's Friday. Good to have you with us.
A few years ago, plastic bag waste in our city came to a tipping point. It was clear we had a bag problem. My department was tasked to reduce plastic bag consumption. We needed to come up with ways to change human behavior. So we asked ourselves,
would you like it back?
What do people really hate? Yep. Getting punched in the stomach. Preliminary studies showed that the consequences weren't severe enough to warrant behavioral change.
Actually, can I get that double bagged?
So we thought, what do people hate more than getting punched in the stomach? Kissing Helga.
Hey, big boy.
People didn't find her so offensive after all, so we had to get creative.
How many bags? Okay, now, pour this ice water down your pants.
We tried everything.
Eat this rat. Defuse this bomb.
Even fighting your clone. After blowing through millions of dollars of government funds on research, I came up with a brilliant idea.
Why don't we just charge 5 cents per bag?
That's a stupid idea.
Would you like a bag?
Yes.
5 cents a bag.
5 cents? 5 cents? Do I still have the option of getting punched?
Honestly, I don't know how everyone else missed it.
Why don't you just get a reusable bag?
One of the most exciting scientific findings of the past half-century has been the discovery of widespread trophic cascades. A trophic cascade is an ecological process which starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles all the way down to the bottom. And the classic example is what happened in the Yellowstone National Park in the United States when wolves were reintroduced in 1995. Now, we all know that wolves kill various species of animals, but perhaps we're slightly less aware that they give life to many others. Before the wolves turned up, they'd been absent for 70 years, that the numbers of deer, because there was nothing to hunt them, had built up and built up in the Yellowstone Park, and despite efforts by humans to control them, they'd managed to reduce much of the vegetation there to almost nothing. They'd just grazed it away. But as soon as the wolves arrived, even though they were few in number, they started to have the most remarkable effects. First, of course, they killed some of the deer, but that wasn't the major thing. Much more significantly, they radically changed the behavior of the deer. The deer started avoiding certain parts of the park, the places where they could be trapped most easily, particularly the valleys and the gorges. And immediately those places started to regenerate. In some areas, the height of the trees quintupled In just 6 years, bare valley sides quickly became forests of aspen and willow and cottonwood. And as soon as that happened, the birds started moving in. The number of songbirds and migratory birds started to increase greatly. The number of beavers started to increase because beavers like to eat the trees. And beavers, like wolves, are ecosystem engineers. They create niches for other species. And the dams they built in the rivers provided habitats for otters and muskrats and ducks and fish and reptiles and amphibians. The wolves killed coyotes, and as a result of that, the number of rabbits and mice began to rise, which meant more hawks, more weasels, more foxes, more badgers. Ravens and bald eagles came down to feed on the carrion that the wolves had left. Bears fed on it too, and their population began to rise as well, partly also because there were more berries growing on the regenerating shrubs. And the bears reinforced the impact of the wolves by killing some of the calves of the deer. But here's where it gets really interesting. The wolves changed the behavior of the rivers. They began to meander less. There was less erosion, the channels narrowed, more pools formed, more riffle sections, all of which were great for wildlife habitats. The rivers changed in response to the wolves. And the reason was that the regenerating forests stabilized the banks so that they collapsed less often, so that the rivers became more fixed in their course. Similarly, by driving the deer out of some places and the vegetation recovering on the valley sides, there was less soil erosion because the vegetation stabilized that as well. So the wolves, small in number, transformed not just the ecosystem of the Yellowstone National Park, this huge area of land, but also its physical geography.
Around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, pay attention to Twitter. Sunday morning, rumors are there may be a big announcement on Twitter Sunday morning. Yep, that's how Hillary plans to, according to the New York Daily News, to announce for president. Are you going to church? Keep your cell phone in your pocket. Just turn the sound off. 866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. It is good to see you here on Friday, April 10. This is the Bill Press Show. We are coming to you live from Washington, D.C., booming out to you all across this country on your local progressive talk radio station. Good to see you on Radio Land this Friday morning. And booming out to you nationwide also on Free Speech TV and worldwide on our video stream, Talker TV. A lot of news this week, and we spent several days now talking about the tragic incident in North Charleston, South Carolina. Yet another unarmed black man shot and killed by yet another white police officer. A difference in this case that the white police officer has been fired from the force and charged with murder in that case. What happens now, and is this going to make any difference in other jurisdictions around the country? Because it certainly differs from the response we've seen in other jurisdictions so far. Debbie Hines is a trial lawyer and legal analyst with Legal Speaks and joins us here in our studio this morning to talk about this issue. Debbie, it's good to see you and welcome back.
Same here. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks for taking the time to come in. You're joining our team, Peter Ogburn. And,
hey, happy Friday.
Hey.
Lisa Murphy, right? With Alicia Cruz. Yes, we always look forward to hearing from you and your comments on the issues of the day, particularly this one. So many of you have been calling this week about North Charleston. 866-55-PRESS is the number. You continue to use it. And our video stream is out there worldwide, and we're nationwide on Free Speech TV. And the reason you can see us is the work of our good videographer, keeping the lights and the cameras going. Monty Kanzler this morning, filling in for Cyprian. I mentioned, you missed it last night, but there was an opening of a documentary movie new documentary movie on the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Have you ever been to that dinner?
I've attended the events, but not the dinner.
There you go. Well, that's kind of what the movie is about, that this has grown in from a dinner that started in 1921, I think, where now it has grown and grown and grown to now it is like a whole week of events.
Yes.
Around a dinner with all kinds of Hollywood celebrities, and a dinner that has little, if nothing, to do anymore, sadly, with the important work of the White House correspondents, of whom I'm one, right, who are there day in and day out trying to get the truth and report the truth. And originally the dinner was just to give them a chance to relax with the president and maybe some leaders of the administration. Now it's grown into something, which is called, that's what the film is called, Nerd Prom.
Right.
The Nerd Prom. Anyhow, check it out at, I just wanted to tell you about it and check it out at their website, Nerd Prom the Movie, nerdpromthemovie.com. So we'll get into North Charleston here with Debbie Hines here at the top of the hour. And then at the half hour, we are going to take a little break from all the politics and news of the day and ease our way into the weekend by tasting some and sampling some very, I understand, interesting new twist on the classic old Bloody Mary.
You can have a Virgin Bloody Mary if you want, but I'm going to make fun of you. So.
All right. That's coming up. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
That's the big stories of the day.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple of other stories making news. In Britain this weekend, things are going to get very interesting as blood rain is expected to fall on Britain. Now, what exactly does that mean? The brown and red dust from the Sahara Desert is blowing into Great Britain.
Whoa.
And it will fall, and you mix that with the already kind of polluted air over some of Britain. It's going to fall in this brown, red dust rain.
Just on Britain? No countries on the way to Britain?
I guess not. No, that's.
You would think it might hit Portugal and Spain.
Much of the southeast and eastern England will see high levels of pollution. They say it's not going to last very long, and so yeah, blood rain is a whole new thing for me, man. I hadn't heard of that.
Mm-mm.
I don't think I want to hear about it again. I don't like the way that sounds.
Or see it.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see it. That's for sure. 17-year-old Simon Schrader is a German student who is my new hero.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned he's 17 years old. He is using the Freedom of Information law to ask his school to get copies of his exam questions. And you know what? It might actually work. It might actually work because it's a state-run thing. He has used the freedom of, basically their version of the Freedom of Information Act. He's FOIAing his test. And so it's going to be close because they have until the 19th to comply with his request, and his exam is on the 21st. So we'll see how it happens. But he could very well get those answers, and I, for one, applaud him.
Look, I can't believe they're dumb enough to give him his exam questions, but...
Hey, if that's how it's run,
if
you found the loophole,
yeah.
Congratulations. And today's the day, Bill. Today is Apple Watch Day. They go on sale today. You can already buy them online.
Yeah.
You can already buy them online.
I thought they launched them...
Well, they announced them, but today's the day that they are on. They are for sale. For sale today. So you can buy them online, or you can buy them in a store. Now, CNN Money is reporting that the lines and the demand, are actually much lower than Apple has sort of laid out. I get that. I don't know. I'm not one of these people who wants an Apple Watch, but no one's really reported a lot of problems ordering them online yet, which we've seen with iPhones and iPads. It's usually a backup.
Right.
So they are
I'm not in
selling
line.
okay.
I'm not in line to get one. So.
No.
All right, Peter, thank you. Debbie, before we get to North Charleston, I just noticed CNN is announcing breaking news. It is now official. Hillary Clinton will launch her campaign for president on Sunday morning. I teased at the top of the hour. We weren't really sure, but now it's official. She's going to launch on Sunday morning on Twitter. No great big party, no great big event, no hotel ballroom. I don't know yet whether or not she is going to, as rumored, head for Iowa. Sunday morning. Peter, maybe you can check while we're talking. But the official announcement, not unexpected. We knew it was going to happen sometime in April, Sunday morning. Now, Debbie, on North Charleston, we have seen, Ferguson, Missouri. We saw Cleveland, Ohio. 2 young black men shot and killed by police officers. Just a kid, actually, in Cleveland. And we saw in Staten Island a black man subdued and wrestled to the ground and choked to death by a police officer. And now we see North Charleston, South Carolina. Those police officers all got away with it. North Charleston, South Carolina, it's different. The police officer has been charged with murder. What do you account for the difference here?
The whole difference is due to Mr. Santana, who had the tape. Without the videotape, I think we could be looking at the same scenario that's played out so far in all the other cases.
And others that, by the way, nobody even knows about.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, all across the country. The video made just the video itself made the difference.
The video made the difference because before the video was known, the police officer had the audacity to already get his story in line that, Mr. Scott was struggling for his taser, and that puts him in fear, which is what he has to place himself in order to use deadly force. That puts him in fear of some type of serious bodily injury or possible death. And he already had concocted that story and then surfaced the tape. And they had no other choice. So
what does this tell you about where we go now in with police activity, police training, police enforcement, whatever?
That's the problem. I mean, we're looking at everything on a case-by-case basis, and what really needs to be done is there needs to be some type of a global approach to it. I mean, we've got Los Angeles, we've got Ferguson, we've got everywhere across the country from north, south, east, and west, and there's not anything being done on any global basis. And the Department of Justice has the authority to basically go in and investigate and make recommendations to various police departments, which they have done in some instances. It just needs to be done more than just on a case-by-case basis.
Isn't that what the department said when it completed its study of Ferguson and was very critical of the Ferguson Police Department, that these are the things now that have to be done in order to improve relations between the police departments and the community, particularly the African-American community?
Exactly, and they need to fast-forward it.
Yeah, I guess they do, really. Right. But so did this officer, or do we know, in North Charleston, I think his name was Michael Slager, did he violate the rules of that department and sort of contradict everything he had learned in his training, or did he not have any training?
Well, he obviously had training. He'd been on the force for 5 years, but he violated the oath that he took, because the oath that he took from the jurisdiction that he's in is to not commit any overly excessive force. And there's no greater force than, obviously, death. So he was trained. He was trained for 5 years. He obviously knew what he was doing. He was not, quote unquote, a rookie. He was not just out the academy. And
he had some problems, Peter, you were saying earlier?
There was one other case of a man who said that he was tasered by the officer, who now he's going back and suing this man, but he'd had some problems before with another African-American man and using excessive force.
Right.
Now, if you watch the videotape, as we have many times, you not only see him shoot Walter Scott in the back 8 times, killing him, then going over to him, and then going back to where they are originally scuffled, and getting the taser gun and going back and dropping it alongside of him in order to build his story that Walter Scott had stolen his taser.
That to me is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen.
That might have been what the final, where the police department, everybody said, that's it, that does it, right?
Well, I mean,
I thought that only happened in movies.
Well, No, it does not only happen in movies. I mean, the fact of the matter is that's where there is a distrust in the African American community with police, because people have been saying for years that not only are drugs planted and guns planted, other evidence is planted, but there's no way to actually prove it because it's basically the word of someone who has been arrested, who probably has criminal convictions, their word against that of a police officer. So it's not just a movie thing. People have been talking about it for years, and those are the things that cause a distrust in the African American community.
Right. But now, so that is bad enough. I mean, he actually is planting evidence to exonerate himself for having killed this man unnecessarily. There's another police officer standing there by that point, an African American police officer who sees him do this. What do we know about him, and why didn't he blow the whistle on his colleague?
And, that's...
Afraid to? Or do you think?
That's the other point. I mean, a lot of times we say that we need more African-American police officers in the communities that are, mostly African-American, and the same as within other communities, Hispanic and other minority communities.
Reflect the diversity of the community, yes.
But there is a problem within the culture of law enforcement generally. Now, there are good police officers, and I want to make that clear, but there is a culture within the police department, and sometimes in jurisdictions, what happens is that the black police officers take on and assume the culture that is there with the white police officers, and that has happened in areas and jurisdictions in the counties that we're familiar with in Washington, D.C. area. I mean, that's not uncommon. So that's why it goes back to training, retraining, retention, hiring new people. But that officer, that black officer, he was exactly the example of probably he's just going to go with code blue, which is the term that the people in St. Louis had, not in St. Louis, in North Charleston had for the police officers sticking together. It's like a close-knit club.
Yeah, code blue. What really struck us, we had... The first day we talked about this, the very first day it happened, the day that the murder charges were filed, and we had a caller, Peter, remember the caller, I forget where he's from now, who said, I think he was from Chicago, but I said, this is what we call the Blue Klux Klan.
Yeah, the Blue Klux Klan.
And both Peter and I went, whoa. Yeah.
And in Charleston, they called it Code Blue.
Code Blue, which is close, yeah. So will this make any difference? Will this be a turning point for other jurisdictions around the country? Debbie Hines with us. She's both a trial lawyer and a legal analyst. This is something we're all talking and thinking about. Do you want to jump in the conversation? Do so by giving us a call at 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. If I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan, big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
25 minutes after the hour, Debbie Hines with us, legal analyst, talking about North Charleston, South Carolina. Debbie, you mentioned that the video made a difference. It certainly did. I agree with you. Without the video, this would have been a different story. I believe the mayor and the police chief also made a difference. At least they reacted differently than the authorities in than Ferguson, Missouri did, right? So, but now the video certainly helped them make their decisions, right?
Yes.
And they acted like any mayor or any police chief, I believe, should have acted.
Yes.
But others have not. Looking forward, do you think this will make a difference and make some communities more sensitive to, making sure their police have the right training and are held responsible?
I think if they want to, and that's the issue. I mean, you have to want to change. I mean, that's true for anything. And so the culture that is in a lot of law enforcement departments, it's just been entrenched there for years and years and years.
How do you get it out?
You have to get out the bad ones. Not everyone is bad. And you have to do training, racial sensitive training, as well as other training, retraining, and hiring new people.
Yeah. Wayne has a quick comment here from Chicago. Hello, Wayne. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning. Just a quick comment. When the police shot Michael Brown, there was a couple that was filming the whole thing, and the police ran up and got the tape, and neither the law enforcement officials in Missouri nor the Justice Department said not one word about it. Nobody pursued it and tried to find out what happened to that tape.
I remember vaguely something about that, Wayne, but I don't know any details about it.
Yeah, and I don't know the details. I mean, a tape is as good as what the tape shows. I mean,
Right.
We don't know what that tape actually showed. Mr. Santana in North Charleston, he actually moved to different vantage points while he was taping to make sure he could get everything. His tape would not be worth anything if he did not have the entire scene.
Mm-hmm. Right. And let's remember, there was a tape in Staten Island, New York.
Oh, yeah, and that got us nowhere.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the tape in and of itself. But just a few seconds. Body cams on police officers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Body cameras, and they need to be wearing them and have them turned on at all times. That's the other issue with the body cameras.
Right. Yeah. Got to be there, and got to be something. And they are doing that again at North Charleston, and the police will not be able to turn them off, which is the way it ought to be.
Exactly.
Debbie, just scratch the surface, but it's so good to have you in today.
Same here, Bill. Thank you so
much. For all your good work. Go to LegalSpeaks.com. We'll be right back with the Bloody Mary Friday.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job, and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand, and they don't get it, and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university?
Yeah, people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies.
In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania.
Fracking pollutes our oceans.
Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer. Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now. Please.
The most valuable morning radio show, according to The Nation magazine. This is The Bill Press Show.
Here we go at 33 minutes after the hour on a Friday, April 10. We're done. Enough serious stuff, enough work. It's time to move into the weekend here. And
here we go.
Here we go.
Look at this.
I don't know whether you are listening on your local progressive talk radio station nationwide, or watching on Free Speech TV nationwide or worldwide on the video stream. I just wish all of you could be right here in the studio with us at this moment to see and enjoy the collection of goodies that I have in front of me. The Hawk and Dove. First of all, if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., certainly if you've ever worked in Washington, D.C., worked on Capitol Hill, you know the Hawk and Dove. It is a long time one of the classic gathering places, shall we say, on the Hill on Pennsylvania Avenue, between our studio and the United States Capitol building. And every day, every night, it is packed, particularly with people who live and work on the Hill. And the Hawk and Dove is starting a whole new lineup, a whole new breakfast lineup, and featuring Bloody Marys and different kinds of Bloody Marys. Nathaniel Gill is the general manager of the Hawk and Dove and is here in studio with us. Nathaniel, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And you brought, like everything you would need, this is the bar of the Hawk and Dove. You have relocated our studio, right? Just about.
I'm waiting for lobbyists to start coming in here and making some drinks like right now. They're going to get confused.
We can make some money while we're working.
Yeah, right?
Oh, man, yeah. So you don't offer just like one Bloody Mary, right?
No. We set our Bloody Mary bar up kind of like a sushi menu at some sushi restaurants where you just get a dry erase marker or wax pencil and you can check off everything that you want. So we start with...
so you mean you can like mix your own?
Make your own.
It's like a whole thing.
You've got the thing.
And you've got a marker, and you pick your rim. You got the different kind of sauce you want in there, your base, the extras, the proteins, the spice. It's so good, man.
Yep.
I never heard of such a thing.
It's pretty awesome.
You know, there's some Bloody Mary bars
I've had a lot
where...
of Bloody Mary. I want a Bloody Mary, and then you get...
Exactly.
Yeah, the same thing all the time.
And a lot of restaurants, if they do have a Bloody Mary bar, typically it's serve yourself. They have everything out for you. You go up and make your own Bloody Mary.
Right.
This is just a little bit higher level of service and try to provide a little more quality product. And I think that since we control it, we have our hands on it, we can offer a lot more options.
Well,
it's wonderful.
Yes.
And this is just a little clip of everything that we can do just for Bloody Marys. This is not everything.
No, right. We're focusing just on the...
I just brought the best things for you guys.
Well, thank you. Right. So, like, I don't know how to get started. I've never ordered
I can explain it to you because it's actually... I'll explain it to you because I actually made this menu in order of the process the bartender needs to follow just for efficiency. So if you order a Bloody Mary, let's go Bloody Mary, and the first thing on the menu is you choose your rim, what you want the glass rimmed in. So I'll just spin this nice really quick. This is the first thing the bartender would need to do, is put the rim on the glass.
Oh, nice. So either like whatever spice you want there.
Yep. Right. So that's in order. Then the next one is pick your poison. Okay, so what kind of alcohol do you want? You'll put your ice in. And then we offer any gin, vodka, or tequila for the Bloody Marys.
Okay.
And
what do you like in your Bloody Mary?
Are you only making one?
No, I'm going to make 3. Yeah.
But I mean one. I'm looking at Peter and right. You're making 3 for me.
However many you want. We've got this whole thing's full of vodka. It is the weekend, right?
Let's do it.
So I am going to pour just our house. We make this vodka for Bloody Marys.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, there's a spigot on there.
That's beautiful.
Yep. We pack this with just different kinds of vegetables, all that we do offer on the Bloody Mary bar menu. A lot of people, if you look at the color of this, it leaches out the brine from the olives. This is just like a really dirty martini.
That looks really good.
Some people drink it straight, actually.
I have to describe, I mean,
it's like a giant urn.
Glass
beautifully arranged with vegetables.
And it's layers. Olives,
sun-dried
tomatoes,
green beans,
a little onions, more olives, then the same thing. Yeah, sun-dried tomatoes, green beans, and that's all filled with vodka. And you
and we put a little spice in it too. Yeah. And this is this is the base. This is the house Bloody Mary mix that we make ourselves.
Okay.
That would be the next thing on the menu, the base, and then you can choose all of your extras. The extras are no charge, cucumber, lemon, lime, horseradish, Worcestershire, black pepper, green beans, celery, olives, hot chili peppers, kind of the regular suspects with Bloody Marys. Then you can add some proteins if you want. We would do anything for you. If you wanted to put a little cheeseburger on top of it, we could do that for you. But on the menu, we have hard-boiled eggs, shrimp, and house-cured bacon.
Oh, nice.
So I think that for this one, I'll just put a little piece of bacon in here.
Okay.
And we'll do a shrimp as well. And what kind of extras do you think you'd like to have? Maybe a piece of cucumber And I think that any traditional Bloody Mary typically comes with a lemon or a lime, and of course a little piece of celery.
Beautiful.
I am stunned.
That's pretty, man. That's a pretty drink.
That's just basically, that's our house Bloody Mary, house vodka. You know, you get this for $7.
Is that right?
That's
Cheers.
awesome.
Let me
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah,
There you
look at that.
Good
Look
job
at that.
before.
That's a beautiful, beautiful drink.
That is beautiful.
But, I mean, this is not like a sample. You know, I mean,
No, that
dude, this is
that'll get your morning started.
That's right. And ended.
Yeah, exactly. Taking a whole lot of stuff done today.
All in one glass. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Peter, I'm going to give you the first one.
Sure.
All right. Now, I
okay.
did leave one thing out on there. We can spice it up if you want. So I just brought a couple of the most popular hot sauces, red hot sauces, sriracha or Tabasco if you want it.
All right.
If you want it.
I'll hit it with some Tabasco.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Give me the drink, Bill. What are you waiting for? I'm just drying out over here.
I'm afraid to.
Now.
And that is
Thank you, sir.
bacon right
Perfect.
there. That is cooked fresh bacon
I love
from
it,
this
man.
morning.
All right.
Now,
okay,
let's see.
good.
Now, the next one I'm going to do
Now,
is...
how many? So
I'm
this is
clocking out.
something-
I'm clocking out, Bill. I'll see you later, buddy.
I mean, this is something I all know. How many people just want the standard Bloody Mary? Do you do that too?
We do that as well.
But
yes.
this is a lot more.
But typically, we offer this menu on Saturday and Sunday brunch. And
this is beautiful. I love this.
And you know, people, almost anybody who comes in, every person who gets handed a menu for Saturday, Sunday brunch has one of the Bloody Mary bars menus inside of it as well.
Yeah.
Anybody who orders a Bloody Mary on Saturday and Sunday during brunch goes off of this right
Is
here.
that right? They
Because
do?
it's the same price as a normal Bloody
Yeah,
Mary. Why not?
really? Yeah.
Why not jazz it up?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Do another one.
Okay. The next one.
Yeah, come on.
All right. You didn't do your topping first.
That's right. You're right. Thank you. Keeping me on point. Thank you. I'm not a bartender.
I was watching.
So
Yeah.
let's see. I'm going to make you one with Clamato, if that's okay, and then I'm going to make one with green at the very end, if that's all right.
Okay. All right.
Clamato. When you make one with Clamato, they call it a Caesar. It's the national drink of Canada.
Yes, I know the Caesar very well.
Oh, really? Okay. Good.
Now,
Hey, Canadians know how to drink.
what
man.
kind of rim
Yes,
would you
they
like?
do.
I say we do smoked sea salt for your rim. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
All right.
This is
Now
delicious.
we have
So are these online, by the way? No, the recipes? No.
the recipes are not online.
No. Okay. But you can check
The
out
menus are.
the menu
Yes.
at Hawk and Dove DC.
Yes, sir.
hawkanddove.com.
Yep.
And on Twitter at Hawk and Dove DC. There's not "and," but just the letter "n." Hawk
You know what's
and
great
Dove
about this, Bill,
DC.
is I've got my celery, I've got my cucumber, I've got my shrimp. It's like having a It's like having a salad.
You're drunk.
I'm a health nut. You understand?
Well, okay.
Now,
Look at Bill.
let's do.
Now, what
Bill, do you
alcohol?
like tequila, gin, or vodka?
I'm a gin man.
All right, let's do.
Yes,
some
he
gin.
is.
He is a gin man.
Okay.
He drinks gin.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, I think you can add some super beats to that if you want it.
Yo, that's a good idea.
I'm going to need super beats after
I'm telling
this.
you. I'm making into this bacon.
Now we have a wonderful barbecue restaurant down by Nat Stadium, and we're smoking all of our salt down there.
Oh,
in
wow.
the state-of-the-art smoker. All of our meats as well. The bacon was actually smoked down there as well, and then we cut it in house.
Okay, so I missed you put Clamato juice in
Yep.
and gin, right? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Clamato and
right.
gin, and then let's see.
No.
What
where are
kind
we?
of extras would you like on it, Bill? You
You-
want a
you
shrimp
go
and a
for it.
bacon?
Yes.
Hey, get some of the
All right.
bacon. Bacon's delicious. You want a shrimp, too.
Bacon,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Shrimp. Do you like yours a little spicy? You want some horseradish in it?
I'm not real spicy. you know.
Okay, we'll pass on that.
I do a
But,
little Tabasco at the end.
A little Tabasco.
Yeah, but then the other goodies just.
Let's do a cherry tomato.
There you go.
All right.
An olive.
Oh man.
And let's do a little
See,
cocktail
It's like
onion.
having a little salad.
Yeah. You know.
Hmm?
So it's like that thing, the sausage factory. You don't want to see how the sausage is made. You do want to.
I love watching this.
But
you
you
kidding me?
do want to see how your Bloody
Yeah.
Mary is made. yes.
Everything that goes into it.
Right.
All right, you said a little bit of Tabasco.
Mm-hmm. We didn't skip anything, did we?
No.
All right.
We've got the Clamato as the base. We've got Tanqueray as the poison. You chose your extras. Spice it up. I think it's ready to drink.
You're good.
I didn't know Bloody Mary could be so much fun.
Get to work.
Wow.
Doesn't that look good?
Yeah, it really does.
I think the most beautiful ones are made with the green Bloody Mary mix, just because the contrasting colors. That's why I saved that one for last.
Okay.
What's
Why
the
don't you
base
start
of the
on that? I'm going to ask you, how long has the Hawk and Dove been around?
1967.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa.
Since 1967.
What kind of Bloody Mary are you ordering when you order a Bloody Mary? Do you go like traditional or you go kind of out there?
No, I usually just go with a regular old Bloody Mary. I do like a piece of shrimp on it.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Who was it I saw? That
is so good.
And I forgot what stadium I saw. They're serving Bloody Marys with a garnished with a slice of pizza this year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I anybody who might be offended that we're drinking Bloody Mary so early in the morning. First of all, Bloody Mary is a morning drink.
It's a morning drink.
Yes, and no matter what Nathaniel Gill has said here from the Hawk and Dove, Peter and I are having Virgin Marys.
Yeah. It might look like we're having alcohol, but no.
Right. You don't sell many Virgin Marys, do you?
Not really.
Yeah,
Not
you
too
probably
many.
wouldn't even make
We
them,
do
would you?
Monday through Friday.
Do you really?
You know, but
Oh.
on the
What kind of
weekend,
animal
on the
orders?
weekends,
Good
people are ready to drink on the weekends. At
so-
least for brunch.
I missed you on the green one. What were you?
So
was
I just put some
preoccupied.
celery salt on the rim. Celery salt's an ingredient that's almost in any Bloody Mary recipe for the Bloody Mary mix. Typically, celery salt's in it. And I'm going to use the green Bloody Mary mix, which you use red tomatoes for. This is a little thicker than the.
What is
red.
that?
This is green Bloody Mary mix.
How do you get it green?
Really?
Yep. So you use red tomatoes to make Bloody Mary mix, red Bloody Mary mix, and you use green tomatoes and tomatillos. To make a.
Oh, spot there on those two.
We'll be all right. You don't have to clean it up, dude.
No, I'm. Okay.
I got it.
Wait, I'll tell you what. Why don't you continue working on the green Bloody Mary? Okay, and then you can tell us what you've done to it when we come back. We have to take a quick break here.
Absolutely.
Brought to you today by the Hawk and Dove. Hawk and Dove. What is the address on Pennsylvania?
329 Pennsylvania Southeast.
329. It's not far from the gym.
See?
Nope.
You can grab a drink on your way to the gym.
Bill Press Show. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. I mean, there was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. You could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. The truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found on the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
What the frack?
President Obama, are you fracking kidding me?
Reopen the EPA studies. In Texas, Wyoming, and Pennsylvania. Fracking pollutes our oceans. Fracking poisons our water.
Fracking makes climate change worse.
Fracking relies on toxic chemicals that cause cancer. Ban fracking now.
Ban fracking now.
Go on. Ban it.
Ban fracking now.
Please.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on Talker TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
11 minutes now before the top of the hour. I've never had so much fun doing talk radio or talk television in my life as we are today, right now, with Nathaniel Gill, who's the general manager of the wonderful Hawk and Dove classic Washington, famous Washington hangout, just down the street from the studio and between us and Capitol and the Capitol building, 329, yes. 329 Pennsylvania Avenue, southeast, where at the Hawk and Dove, the breakfast menu, you can have pork canita hash, just looking at the menu here, biscuits and gravy, steak and eggs Benedict, farm egg sandwich, and with any of it, you can have and make and choose your own Bloody Mary. Nice. And build your own from the Bloody Mary menu here, Peter, if I can see that, right? Where, like a sushi restaurant, you have your little crayon and you mark off.
A little blue marker.
What you want on the rim, what kind of liquor you want, what kind of booze you want, the base, the extras, the proteins, and then spice it up on the outside, all for $7. Unbelievable. Peter has his vodka, which he's just about finished. Dude, slow down.
I know.
I heard the sound.
They carry you out.
Oh, it was delicious.
I have just barely started my gin, but you had a name for it. That's the...
That one's the Caesar.
This is the Caesar, right.
Yeah.
Peter had the...
This is a pretty
He just had
classic
our House Bloody Mary mix.
House Bloody Mary. And you now have...
I made one with our green Bloody Mary mix. Which,
that's really pretty.
Yep, just the same as if you make a Bloody Mary mix that's red, you make it out of red tomatoes. We make this one out of green tomatoes and a little tomatillo to spice it up. And then we even have a nice selection of green hot sauces.
Oh, cool.
So that you don't distort the color in any way and you can enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you sell many green ones?
It is the least popular because, the color's interesting, but
let me see. I could just hold it up here.
Typically go with the... People typically go with the traditional House Bloody Mary mix.
Right.
But
I would say if the bartender handed me that, I would say, no, I'm sorry, I ordered a Bloody Mary. Yeah, right.
But we sell about a gallon a weekend. So you break that down, we're probably selling about 30 or 35 of green Bloody Marys a weekend. But you compare that to the 300 or 400 we sell of the regular, and it's a small portion.
Okay, so your average customer, you plan they will have like what? 3 or 4 of these at breakfast?
Well, they usually just have a couple Bloody Marys, and then if they really want to keep,
really a couple,
and if they want to keep drinking, they usually jump on the bottomless mimosas. If they really want to keep drinking, then
I might sign up for that.
Then you pay $15. We've got 7 different kinds of mimosas you can have, and people sit around and drink all day. It's fun.
I was just going to say, if they're doing that, they come and they don't leave.
You make a day of it. Once you commit to a couple of Bloody Marys, you're committed for the day, I think. Right? You're not going to the gym today.
Wait a minute. If I had a couple of Bloody Marys, are you kidding?
Bill would take his top off.
That would be it. That would be it for the day, for sure. All right, so people can find the menu online.
Yes, sir.
Right? At Hawk and Dove.
HawkandDoveDC.com.
Hawk and Dove DC. HawkandDoveDC.com. And check out the Bloody Mary bar.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, Nathaniel, this has been so much fun, so great. Just leave all this stuff here.
We'll bring it down the street in a little while. It's in good hands.
We'll take care of it. No problem at all. All
Thank you so much for having me.
And we will see you. Invite everybody to join us from a big party at the Hawk and Dove. Thanks, Nathaniel. Great to see you.
Good stuff.
I think I'll be back with a parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Okay, on this Friday, April 10, my parting shot for today. You know, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I feel so strongly that the Democratic nomination for president should not be a coronation for Hillary Clinton. I was glad to hear somebody else say it yesterday. Appearing on CBS this morning, Senator Elizabeth Warren, of all people, said Democrats should not rush to coronate Hillary as their 2016 presidential candidate. I think there needs to be a vigorous debate in the whole question of running for president, she told Charlie Rose. Hey, wait a minute. Elizabeth Warren said that? Of course she's right, but that only raises the biggest question of all. Why doesn't she run? Warren would be a great candidate for president. She's right on all the important issues. She's one of the nation's most popular Democrats. She's a great campaigner and public speaker, and she's already got a strong progressive following. In fact, this is Elizabeth Warren's Barack Obama moment. Today, people are giving her the same reasons not to run that they gave Obama back in 2007, but he didn't listen to them then, and she shouldn't listen to them now. Run, Elizabeth, run. That's my parting shot for today. That's it for this week, folks.
Let's go hit the bar.
Let's go. Let's go hit the Hawk and Dove. Hey, have a great weekend. Come back and see us Monday. We'll be looking
This
for you.
is the Bill Press Show.